It is now.
All right. Cool.
Well, Todd, you tell us when it's go time, buddy.
I believe it is go time.
What? Wait, we're recording?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Oh. Hey everybody, how's it going?
We do that every episode. It's great.
Coming to you live, and if you're not live, you're watching this afterwards from the historic Renton Civic Theatre in beautiful, beautiful downtown Renton.
Yes. In the lobby, no less.
Yes, and this is the Big Mashup Show. We're taking 3 different shows and throwing them into one. How exciting is this?
That's how you know you have way too much time on your hands.
On a Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, not one of us is going to church today. So.
Don't tell God. So anyway, to my right, I've got my Dunce Cap Games DCGTV brother, Kyle McCurdy. To my left, I've got Not About You podcast, Jamal Harrington, the most funniest guy in the room. Right. And further to my left on the big board, we've got cousin Todd, also from Not About You and Our Town podcast. Yeah. My goodness, we are just filled. And unfortunately, there's a couple of people we're missing today that we got to shout out. We got Mary Ann Riley, who could not make it because she's not feeling good. And Mr. Mike, the mayor himself, is in Chicago still. So, not that they're dead, but we miss them anyway.
Run for your life.
What's up, guys?
Oh man, it's good. I mean, I'm good. I'm awake. I'm alive. I woke up this morning. You know, we had a really good show last night here at the Renton Civic Theatre, and I'm still kind of feeling the high from it. The guys that were on the show last night, Justin Hayes, Kermit Apio, and Amos Mack, those guys, pillars of their community.
Killed it last night.
They nailed it to the floor.
Awesome. And I'm proud to say that they're all local guys, right?
Yeah.
All right. Kicking it Western Washington. Good job.
Like Renton local or like?
Olympia.
Okay.
So Olympia and Tacoma, Justin Hayes, Olympia, Amos Mack, and Kermit lives in the northern part of Seattle, I believe.
Oh, okay,
but
cool.
Yeah, definitely local guys.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those lineups that I wanted to do. Like the first thing that I thought about when I put together the lineup was, well, number one, let's get first of all comics that we get along just fine, you know. Nice. And you know, it was one of those things where I was like, let's do like this diversity thing, you know. And I thought that the lineup was more diverse than the audience, you know. like yes, Kermit's gonna bring in like all these Hawaiians in, you know. It's gonna be like pineapple pizzas everywhere and whatnot. You know, it was gonna like smoke a ham in front of the theater or something.
That would have been awesome.
And had like a luau, but it was totally opposite. You know, it was just like a lot of red.
You know what I appreciated about the show is that you could tell you guys knew each other really well.
Oh yeah,
because of the way you played off each other and were making jokes, even, you know. And you know, if you're on a national stage, I'm sure with guys that you don't normally perform with, you probably don't have that camaraderie, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there's some, but
because you know, it's like when you know somebody or have done enough shows with them, you kind of know what the again, it's like a brotherhood. You know what pushes their buttons, you know what don't, but it's just like we're very thick-skinned. Justin is one of those guys that you sit in a room with him and you're cracking up the first 5 minutes, and you either like him, you're like, he's a cool guy.
Bust your chops if he likes you,
or you could be like, wow, this guy's a complete asshole. But why would anybody want to hang out with him? And it's like, give it time, he grows on you. He definitely grows on you. And Amos, we did the last show we did was last year in August at the Emerald City comic convention. And there's this comic who does the Nerds of Comedy.
The Real Nerds of Comedy.
Yeah, the Real Nerds of Comedy. And Amos was on the show, and I kind of quite. I was like, Amos is on the show. I was like, I didn't know he was a nerd. I didn't know he liked like Comic-Con and stuff like that.
He's into anime,
but he's like an iron worker or something. He mentioned he's like manly man, right?
Yeah. So that's the thing. I'm just like, I mean, I know you got a kid and all, but it's just like, do you really like what he likes? But when he closed out the show and it was amazing. And I was like, oh my gosh. So it was from that performance that made me think, I need to get him back on the show.
Yeah.
You know? So it was really great. And Kermit, he's one of the sweetest guys in the business. I mean, he drove all the way up from Salem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, I mean, usually when you see him on stage, he's decked out in these nice suits. Like he looks like he's going to tell jokes and then, like, audit you at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, okay, this next joke is brought to you in part by, can I see some of your tax forms, please? You know? So it's just,
it's that time.
you know, he dresses really nice, and he's very professional. So, you know, this was like kind of like the less dapper down I've ever seen him. But I'm like, dude, you're coming from like Salem, watching your daughter participate in a sporting event. Like, of course, you're gonna, you know, go through traffic and try to get her as fast as you can. But no. So, but he came in, did exactly what he was supposed to do, and it was perfect. You know, it was very perfect. So I was happy that he was able to stop by here on his way home and tell some jokes. So yeah, it was really fun.
Nice. Do any of those guys have any albums or anything out, or that you know of?
Kermit has his special on Dry Bar Comedy on Facebook.
Okay.
So you or Facebook and YouTube. If you do search for Kermit Apio Dry Bar Comedy, you'll find one of his special that he did with them.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, back in the day, I was buying all kinds of like Richard Pryor and Steve Martin albums and stuff like that. Is that still in the comedy world? Do people do?
Oh yeah, people still do albums. I mean, you can go on like Spotify, type in a name, and not much. I had like a lot of comedy albums on Spotify, and Spotify for some reason, a lot of artists took their stuff off Spotify.
Oh.
But you could go on like YouTube and see like the tapings, you know, or even like any other like Apple. I mean, Apple has like all kinds of stuff that you. But yeah, people still record albums. People still.
He was recording an album here.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I ended up saying no to that. And if you saw the show last night and the way I hosted, you could see why. But no. But no, I ended up deciding not to do it and postponed it a lot further. I was kind of going through some stuff, and I was like, you know what, I'm not sure if I want to do it, or I wanted to wait till because I think the audience, at least for me, if I'm doing a comedy album, I want it to be good, you know, and I want to be able to do the album and be like, okay, that I did exactly what I set out to do and the jokes that I wanted to tell. And it was just one of those things where, and plus I was like questioning my comedy career. Like, I've been doing this for 11 years, and I'm like, you know, at some point you think to yourself like, okay, I'm here. How do I get to here? And sometimes you kind of need to like step back and kind of like reflect. And not try to push too hard, because you don't want to bottom out and just like end up hating yourself and then hating the business. So
that's kind of how it is. Kyle's a musician, has been in a bunch of bands and stuff. Did some recordings and whatnot. But it's kind of same thing, right? When you're in a band and you know you grind and.
I mean, I wouldn't call it grinding in the band. It was like going to the bar and getting free beer to play music there.
Oh, okay.
Like, that was pretty fun.
Free beer and chicks, right?
Free beer and chicks, yeah.
Basically our drink tickets.
Pretty much. The grind would be more in the practice. I'd imagine would be something similar in the comedy world. I don't know. But it would be like spending the hours just doing it by yourself to get better. Yeah. That's where more of the grind is.
Yeah. I don't have that creative bug in that outward way, so I don't, but it's fascinating to me.
I mean, it's just like that's all we do is, you know, be creative, and I like it. You know, I'll be on the plane, and sometimes if I'm not sleeping, I'm just like, well, what? You know, I have like a little pen and a pad sitting there on my tray table, and it's just like blank. You know, and it's like, okay, so what do we want to write about today?
All work and no play makes Jamal a dull boy.
And then they duct tape me to the seat. You know, like, once they see that, they're like, no, you're not about to.
Really, I'm funny, I swear.
I'm like, at least give me my left hand so I can just write. You can duct tape the rest of the body. Just don't do it all the way through.
Is that the process on jokes? You just keep a notebook and try to keep...
You know what? So I did this joke last night about the yawning joke.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And that joke it's literally a week old.
Oh.
Yeah, and I sometimes, like sitting down by yourself in a dark room is not the way to do it. You got to go outside. You got to see the world.
Yeah.
And I was actually, I was just telling my friend this just last night. I was walking. I was actually going to an open mic, and I was going to an open mic, and I was transferring from one train to another, and I was walking down the hall, and there was this lady who yawned, and she did not put her hand, she didn't cover her mouth, and I got pissed. just for no reason, I didn't know her, you know what I'm saying? I didn't, and it was just like a small thing, it was just like if someone's like, she might as well just sneezed in a crowded area.
Not cover her mouth.
But and again, I could have easily, I'm a pretty mild-mannered person, I let a lot of stuff go, but for some reason, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I just lost my faith in society.
A yawn. Comedian in New York snaps because of yawn.
Never happened.
Headlines.
Yeah, like a comedian pushes a lady on the floor because she has bad manners.
Right onto the third rail.
But I saw that, and I just remember and mind you, I'm going into the city, I'm in a pretty good mood, and when I saw that, I just instantaneously, a dark cloud just came over my head, and I got upset, and I sat in the train, I took my phone out, and I just started writing a joke about this lady yawning, and I was just describing it in the most vile ways, and I'm like, you know what? I could do this better in a more creative way. So I'm just so I get to this open mic, and I'm sitting down next to my friend, and she's just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm writing a joke. At this open mic. I'm not even on the open mic, mind you. I'm here to support.
Okay.
And what are you doing? Oh, I'm writing a joke. Okay. I didn't know you were allowed to do that here. I'm not even paying attention to what's going on. I'm just I am mad right now. And I'm just sitting there just and I'm showing out is this how you spell irate? So
here's what I imagine. I imagine Jamal on a date, right? And something comes across, and he pulls out a little notebook, and he starts taking notes, and the gal sitting across from him is like, what the hell's he doing? And then he, says something, and he writes a little more, and she's like, what the hell, is he taking notes on me or something?
There's an equivalent to that, actually. If I for some reason don't have my note and my pad, I just sit there and I just stare at you, and I just process it in here. and I remember one time I was dating a female comedian, and why did I say female comedian? I was dating a comedian. Sex matters. And she was telling me stuff about her day, and I'm sitting looking at her, and I'm listening, how men's supposed to. And she's like, you're not even listening to me, are you? And I'm like, sure I am. She's like, no, you're not. You're writing jokes in here. And I'm like, maybe, but not if you're going to tell it first,
Man. Smile and nod.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to mix it up 4 seconds, and then 3 seconds, and then you got to throw in a little, oh, really? Oh, I would have done the same thing too.
Yeah.
Until she's telling a story about how her dad or her puppy died, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Yeah. Tomorrow.
What do you guys think? Here's the question. I have a girlfriend, about 3 years, but there was a brief period between a marriage and girlfriend where I was dating. What is etiquette on date with phones? What are you supposed to do? Someone put it under the table, phone down.
So exactly. So
face down.
What I do is I'll usually have my phone in my pocket, and I don't because I'm afraid I might slip out. Oh, sometimes it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I take my phone and I put it face down, right there.
Right there.
So even if it rings, and I put it on silent,
do not disturb and silent.
Yeah. So I don't want it ringing, but I put it right there because I'm paying attention to you, and no matter what happens here, it's all about you, bam. Now, if she gets up and goes to the bathroom, then that kind of gives me a little time to kind of okay, this, that. But when she comes back, it's right back down. Talking to you.
Yeah.
But as far as that goes, you don't want to be tacky and just look at your phone and be like, oh, I'm sorry, the game is on. and just, I double.
You also don't want all those Tinder matches.
Yeah, I double booked, and God forbid, like you get a text message and it's like from an ex being like, talking shit about you, and she could read it upside down. She's like, oh my God, okay, I can see why you were on a dating app. All right, well, you know what? This was fun.
Yeah. Thanks for dinner.
There's been a couple of times where we were recording a podcast and it's during the football season, and you could tell Jamal's watching the game.
I got leering eyes.
He kept. People watching are like, why does he keep looking at his phone? Because I'm posting on Facebook and shit.
And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Jamal is a fan of one of the most rabid fan bases ever, which is the East Coast.
Yeah, I think the football team that I like, we're kind of a divided group. So, but it's funny that Todd mentions that because yes, he's right.
He wasn't that distracted, but it was enough. I was like, what is he doing?
Because I'll have my phone like right here, and like we'll be talking about issues of the heart,
and he
which
gets excited about something,
and my eyes will just go like this, and then it's like it's only like a slight look. Like my head doesn't even move. Like you can see my eyes just looking.
But both me and Marianne realize he's like, you're watching the game, aren't you? And he's like, no, yes, no.
And it's okay. So we record Thursday night, and Thursday night football is a thing. And I have fantasy football, so I watch all the games because I'm just like, look, I got money riding on this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I'll let like Todd will be talking about Star Wars, and I'm like, I'll just like look.
He's glazed over.
I'm like, this is gonna last like 10 minutes, so I got time.
Hey, I legit for like a year. I was like, so have you watched The Mandalorian yet? He's like, no.
I think it was like 2 years.
Okay, it was 2 years.
No, actually it was longer than that. I have not watched The Mandalorian, and that would it was like a running joke, like, hey, Jamal, have you watched The Mandalorian? And then a few weeks will go by, and like before we would end the show, Todd would be like, hey, did you see The Mandalorian? And I'm like, no. And again, like I was going to watch. It's on my list, but I'm like watching. Like,
still haven't watched it.
Actually, I'm somewhat caught up. I watched the 2 seasons.
I've never seen it. No.
Okay, so
we're no
now you
longer
got
friends.
somebody else to.
We're no longer friends.
You could like send and not for nothing. It's a really good show. Like actually, I saw the entire first season of The Mandalorian. No, I saw the first 3 episodes in New York, and then I came here and I watched the rest of it.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, good. I was like, all right, this is a pretty good show. And then I went on into season 2, and it was good too. And what now? I don't know how far back I am now because I feel like I'm not catching up. Is it season 3 now?
Yes, episode 5 came out.
That's the
Wednesday.
one. Sorry for being.
Oh, come on
That's
now.
the one with like the Boba Fett guy and the
Display
little
your
tiny
geek card.
Yoda guy,
Yeah.
right? That's that one.
The Mandalorian.
Boba Fett guy and the tiny Yoda. It's the Boba Fett guy. It's the Boba Fett guy and Slimer.
A hairless gremlin.
Yes.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Like Slimer's just being annoying.
Yeah, I'm reading a lot of articles on negative pushback against Grogu. Like it's
Really?
it's too much, man. It's overstepped, and people were happy when he went off with Luke Skywalker, but now he's back. And I get it. I mean, my kid loves it because of friggin' Baby Yoda, right? I like it because the action and it's Star Wars, right? But
I mean, it's all those things, honestly. I mean, I haven't heard the negative about Grogu, but
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I've heard negative about any of these shows on Disney Plus is the Book of Boba Fett was kind of lame the first 3 episodes, and then Mando and Grogu show up in the
got better.
fourth episode.
friggin' Baby Yoda, man.
Is that Grogu? Is that Baby Yoda?
Baby
Yoda.
Is it Grogu?
Yeah.
Okay.
Grogu's his damn bit. He calls him Baby Yoda because he's a small version of Yoda.
Yoda, yeah.
Okay.
I just learned something just now.
Me too.
Like I'm like, what is that? I missed that in season 1.
Well, okay, in season 2, at some point, we get introduced to a Jedi, and the Jedi is able to talk to Grogu.
Oh.
And she's like, his name is Grogu. Because before it was, hey kid, was what.
Yeah, that's what I would say. He's like, hey kid.
I will tell you, Todd. This might upset you. But I'm I think Star Trek is a much better franchise.
They're 2 different things at this point. I mean, I like both
There was a funny, I think, April Fool's post that somebody made that Disney bought the rights to Star Trek.
I saw that. I was like,
That's actually pretty clever.
for a second, there's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good, and then I was like, it's April Fool's. That's not even real.
I spent all day just typing, do you know what day it is?
The thing is like, okay, so in they call it the Kelvin universe, which is the JJ trick, as I call it. JJ Abrams did the new movie in 2009.
Yeah.
If you watch that movie knowing that it parallels the first Star Wars movie, like Farm Boy goes to space.
Oh, okay.
His
story arc.
Yeah, the story arc is very similar. His greatest adversary becomes his best friend. You know.
So people are just reusing storylines now.
Yeah.
Just recycling.
That's all AI, right?
New characters.
Put a plot
new
in here.
action.
And that was one of the complaints that people had. Like, this isn't Star Trek. This is Star Wars. I was like, yeah, that's why I liked it, because it wasn't a bunch of techno babble and like, you know.
Isn't The Lion King like that too, where it's just Hamlet but with lions?
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
And I've heard the same thing. I've heard
Without the insects. Right.
I've also heard that Harry Potter is just Star Wars with wizards and dragons.
I don't know enough about Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I remember when I was living in New York, like a lot of the kids were reading the books. I mean, there were thick books that they were reading, and I was like, "Wow, okay, kids are reading," you know, like that, and they were just like, "I can't wait for the next book," and I'm like, "There's more books and
of Harry Potter."
Like, I remember when like it was like a phenomenon, like just the Harry, and then the movie started coming out, and then you would hear like these young like kids way younger than me being like, "Oh, the book was way better than the movie," and I'm like, "Well, damn, like if that's your endorsement, if that's your way of trying to get me to read, I've not read what? I have not cracked open a Harry Potter book in my life.
I did wait in line for a few hours when my son was like, I don't know, 10 or 11, something like that, and waited in line at a Barnes & Noble.
Hey.
To get the book, to be one of the first ones to buy this, like waiting in line for concert tickets back in the day, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like some of these, you would think that they like Ticketmaster would be like in like the strangest places, like music, but it's just like, are they selling tickets to this? No, we're here for the Harry Potter book, and so it's like, is it really a book where like when you open it, there's like weed cut out into the pages or something? It's just like, you know, is it really a book?
A little bit of meth in there to keep the kids interested. Yeah.
You know, but so I started watching the movies, and I haven't watched all of it. I'm stuck at, I don't even know which one I'm stuck at. Actually, this is the fourth one, and I don't even know the title of it.
I don't remember the title of it either.
But I will say this: the movies are pretty interesting, you know. And as I'm looking at the movies, and you really got to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Like of everything that's going on, I understand the fascination. You know, I haven't read the book, so I can't really compare the movies with the book. But it blows my mind when the kid was like, "Oh, Goblet of Fire, book was better," and I feel like such a loser now. I'm just like, I want to be cool like you, and you're not even old enough to drink yet. How do I be cool like you?
Reading Harry Potter books.
I never got into any of the Harry Potter stuff myself.
I got introduced to it, Harry Potter, from my niece. She had like the hardback books. She's like, you know, my mom bought her all the books that were hardback.
What's the author? J.K.
Rowling. Yeah,
isn't she in big trouble?
She's anti-trans, and some of her characters in her books are stereotyped and whatnot. So So people are like protesting like anything that comes out from her.
Wow, being stereotyped in a book. Whoa, man. Jeez Louise, doesn't everybody get stereotyped in a book? I never understood like that concept. Like, oh, I can't read that book because there's a black guy who's a slave and it's set in like slave times. So I can't read that because I might get triggered. Like, what the hell? I never understood that concept.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are protesting the new video game that just came out like in the last month. And
it's supposed to be awesome. I read a review about that one.
I've actually watched my friend Egypt, who is one of the comic dads. He does a Twitch stream where he plays games, and I tuned in one day and he was playing that game. I was like, "Is this Harry Potter?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "The new game just came out." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I'm sitting there watching. I was like, "Okay, this is kind of cool." It has It's kind of third-person view. Your camera's like right behind your character, and
Make a wizard.
Yeah,
Is it based on one of the books in particular? Or anything,
no, you create your own character. I mean, you can customize the look.
Just go.
and just
F up some muggles.
And it's an open world, and you can wander around. It's kind of like GTA, but with wizards instead of gang members and shit.
So steal someone's broom, just knock them down.
Be somewhere over the head with your Horcrux. Yeah.
I will say this, and I can't defend this because I don't remember it well enough, but I had a little period of my life where I heard about J.K. Rowling being like anti-trans or something like that, and so I looked it up. Like, what did she say? And from what I found, there was like nothing in there is like anti-trans. It seemed like it was a way blown thing. Sorry, Mike. But I don't remember exactly what I read, so I can't necessarily defend that position.
She
but I looked it up and I was like, "What? No,
she retweeted or she tweeted something that was like about trans people in general, I think. But she's also created characters that are, making she's basically saying that the Death Eaters were like, what was it?
Death Eaters.
The Death Eaters are like the bad guys in those movies, in those books. They're like they're basically like Grim Reapers.
Okay.
And they when they catch you, they suck out your soul and whatever.
I had a picture in my head just pop up of like,
it's literally like just a Grim Reaper, but and they're when they talk, they all whispery.
Do you play video games?
I do.
Picture Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat sucking out your soul.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's trying to say.
And they basically were saying that those characters were
finally a video game reference. I understand.
Gotta go back to 1993. To make video game references. But yeah. So I mean, I don't own any of her. I mean, I have the movies. They were a gift, so I didn't spend any money on it. So.
But like getting back to like what that's really cool that like Harry Potter did it with getting kids back into books. That other one was the Hunger Games, right? Like that one got a bunch of kids reading books and stuff.
Yeah,
like it's cool seeing that in the modern time.
Like when I get on a train, like I actually, as of a couple weeks ago, I got me a library card.
Hey,
which is something that I haven't had. I mean, when I lived in Seattle, I had a library card, and I didn't live too far from the library. But I got a library card recently, and I walked into the library. I live on the same block as the library.
Okay.
I mean, so I get to the library, and I'm browsing through their books and all that, and I mean, I was like, I'm actually going to read again.
Yeah.
And which is something that I can't. The last book I read, cover to cover, God, it was a long time ago, and it wasn't like a book that I had to read for school or anything like that. It was just like I was cleaning out my storage unit, and I saw this book, and I was like, I'm gonna read it, and I read it, and it was Animal Farm.
Oh,
and you had to read it in high school and whatnot, and I read it, and I was like, I still hate this book, Like, I mean, I like it, but I'm just like, oh man, like it still hit me. And then there's a movie that they had, and I watched that, and
isn't that like a really popular Nintendo game series too?
I think Animal Farm's the one. It's like a social.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, like some animals are more useful than others.
Like that allegory.
I was thinking of Animal Crossing, but yeah.
It's an allegory on communism.
Yeah.
And it's it's a great book, but it was like the last book that I read. And even when I flew here, I put 2 books in my bag in case, like, on the flight, I could read it on the flight. But I did finish. So the library, they have like this thing where you can check out 50 items. At my house right now, I have 50 books. 3 books from James, and I was like, and this was not like one trip, where I'm just like carrying 50 books. I checked out like 5 books at a time. Then I was like 10 books, and then 10 books. And then I was like, I'm just going to grab all these books, and then I have them in order that I'm going to read them stacked up in a tower. And I just finished like my first book like 3 days ago. And I'm like on the train, I'm reading it, because like every time I get on a train and I see like somebody reading a book, I'm like, you know what? that's cool because it's like, you know, we live in a society where like we are so handcuffed to technology. I'm on my phone, like doing this or doing this, and then sometimes I'm kind of tired of it. I mean, like me, I'm kind of like bored of it. So I don't want to be a slave to my phone. So, and I'm 40 years old. I know. But
I can't talk right now. I'm podcasting.
you know, I'm 40 years old and I don't want to be like, this is as much as I'm ever going to learn. I don't need to learn anything after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do not want to, like, I don't want to learn anything new. I don't care. 40 is a decline. Like, I don't want that for my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 40 years old. I go to the gym. I'm still active. But I think knowledge is very important. You know, have you ever, do you drink? Do you guys
Yeah.
I mean,
I sometimes,
social.
yeah.
Like, we're social. Like, I don't want to ever have to be in a conversation and we're talking about something that I'm just like, I'm like no knowledge of. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but usually like when you guys talk like Star Wars and Star, I mean, I've seen the shows, but I'm not gonna like interject something and just be like, yeah, I'm smart. You know, like I don't want to. If I don't know anything about it, even on our podcast, if I don't know about something, I am not going to interject because it's just like, you know, and sometimes it's smart to do that too. Like, look, I know this is not something that I'm very versed in, so I'm gonna like step back and then just listen to somebody talking and learn from it, you know?
Right.
So I want to be able to just, and just for my own personal, you know, I just want to be able to just learn something new, and then sometimes I'll read fiction.
What was the book you just finished?
It was called.
Oh boy. Desire on a Tropical Island.
It was called Pornography by Debbie Nathan.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it was it's about pornography and how it the history of pornography and how it's shaped society. It's not like, it doesn't get into like the vulgarity of like, well, in this scene, you know, which I was like rip off, you know. I'm just like,
I'm at the money shot.
you know, yeah, right. But it just talked about the business and like, and how it like the world
and how hard it can be.
But
it's
affecting things.
and it was and not for nothing, it was very like eye-opening because, you know, it talks about like the history, where it started and how it's evolved, you know, and it gets into the business side of it, and it got into like you know, they've interviewed a lot of people who are in the business, and it was just an eye-opener just on that alone. And so now I look at it differently.
Sure.
Or will be looking at it differently, you know, the next time. No,
my short dalliance in porno.
Oh, do tell.
Working for a delivery service, we actually used to deliver the film cans to some of the big, like the AMC theaters, right?
Yeah.
And one day I was carrying a couple across the warehouse, and this guy who's always talking about pornos and being in porns and going to LA and becoming a porn star and all this stuff. Chris, if you're out there somewhere, he comes up. I said, yeah, I always wanted to be in the movie industry. He goes, dude, we could leave on Saturday, man. I'm telling you, four movies a day will make like $1,000 a day. 4 movies a day. I'm like, motherfucker, 4 movies a day?
he's not wrong. Like, male performers don't make much money compared to the women.
Yeah.
Like, if you were a chick, you would have. If you were a chick and you were making 4, you would probably make like $3,000. Or $3 to $5 grand, like that day, if you're doing like 4 shoots. I mean, you would need a break in between or something like that.
I gotta let this shit heal, but
Dude,
you're just like, okay, like I need a salad. You know, like, give me a
man.
and a smoothie. Come on.
Quick question for you guys: have any of you seen the movie Orgasmo?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
No.
Trey,
man. Trey Parker and Matt Stone. The guys
Okay,
from
I've
South
heard of
Park.
it. I've not seen it.
Oh man, it is absolutely the funniest thing. It's essentially.
Is it about porn?
It is about a Mormon missionary who becomes a porn star. Like, he's doing his mission and he interrupts a filming of a movie. And the director says, you know, the bouncer guy is like, kill them, and you know, the guy goes to chase off the Mormons, and he knows kung fu and beats the shit out of the bodyguard and stuff. And
It's the South Park guys.
yeah, and ends up getting hired to play the main character in the movie they were filming. It's
He
really
becomes
funny.
a big porn star, but his Mormon faith won't allow him to inject his faith into anybody. Right?
So
That's one way of putting it.
every time there's supposed to be penetration, he goes, "Well, we'll just use a stunt cock."
Yeah.
And then they yell, "Stunt cock!"
In one of the scenes, the stunt cock is a big black dude, and he's like, "You don't see a problem with this?" It's
Okay.
really, you have to rent it. It's really
I'm
funny.
intrigued. I have no idea how.
It kind of takes us a jab at the industry.
It takes a jab, but it also makes a lot of fun of Mormons too.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
and that's the one thing they do. It's just like they take something like very like precious as faith, and they just throw it through
Yeah.
a wood chipper.
I mean,
Good.
I mean, this is
And you need to once in a while, right?
and this is like 20 years before they did the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm worried about the Mormons. If society falls down, and I'm on this little like prepper kick in my life right now, which is weird, but if society collapses, the Mormons are going to take over because they have food networks, they have like self-reliance built into their culture.
Okay, don't tell
That
that
they are
they're
gonna
going
be
to
the
take over.
ones.
Okay, don't
They-
tell that to the Jews because they're like we're next in line.
are you saying they have more than the Catholic Church? Because I'm pretty sure the Catholic Church has everything.
Well, maybe they would take over the Southwest United States then.
Mormonism
They'll
is
have their
still
little
the
kingdom.
fastest growing,
Islam is the fastest growing.
well, Christian
Yeah.
faith anyway.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You say,
I kind of feel like people are over the whole Christian thing now.
There's a lot more atheists these days, I think.
Yeah, and you want to know, and thank you, Christians, for that. You know, it's just, I mean, I when I was a kid, I used to go to church 3 times a week.
Same. Wow.
Thanks.
Well, not 3 times.
Yeah,
But yeah.
we would go Wednesday, Sunday, and then sometimes they'll have like night service on Sunday, and that's just way too much church
a lot.
for a child. You know,
Were you Jehovah's Witness?
to process. No, I was a Christian. Just to process all this, you know, morality and stuff. And I'm just like, man, I'm just now learning
Yeah.
what boobs are. You know, it's just like then you're gonna throw this Jesus thing at me. You know, so it's just but as I grew up. And I learned that I could make my own decisions. Like I didn't have to go to church anymore. I'm not, and I'm not saying like I don't believe in a higher power. I just don't believe in the whole organized religion.
Like hierarchical, organized
saying?
religion.
Yeah.
The community aspect's cool. Like that's pretty neat when they can like get people together in community.
Yeah,
people feel like they're part of
it's like,
something.
hey, you know, we're doing a potluck. Oh, like,
Yeah.
cool. You know what I'm saying? But it's almost like it's like a recruitment. You know what I'm saying? It's like
and as
Before
long
we
as you're not
feed you,
marrying
you
off
have-
your 12-year-old daughter to
No.
some old guy.
They're like, before we feed you, we have to do some prayers and some other things.
You need to accept this ridiculous belief.
Come over to my little mini swimming pool.
I just love it when the answer to everything is Jesus. You know, it's like, hey, what's the square root of 9? Jesus. You know, like,
Just have faith.
That doesn't make sense. That's why it's called faith.
Yeah.
like they just wrap your wrist every time you say something other than Jesus, or like the Holy Trinity. Just it's one of 3 answers.
Get one of those Catholic nuns that like to like smack the back of your hand with a ruler.
I got slapped by a nun in the 5th grade.
Like in the face,
In
open
the
hand.
face, open hand, man. Yeah.
Chuck, what did you say?
I didn't say anything. So, Catholic school, we had to raise money, right? Always fundraisers. You're either selling chocolate bars or you're doing some kind of performance for, you know.
Priests.
We gotta go there. But we're about to go on. We're all lined up. 5th grade class. We're going to do this big, like, Western hoedown dance thing. And one of my buddies pushed me into the girls' bathroom through the door. And I came back out, and I think I shoved him, and we were giggling. It was just kid stuff, right? And the nun comes up. She's like, "What did you do? What did you do?" And I'm just like, "What? And so, wow, like that." And I'm like, "Motherfucker, I'm out." And I left, and they had to, you know, without, you know, a young Charles to be there for the big performance. But yeah, slapped by a nun. Parents got pissed.
What? Yeah.
But they had to sign something when I went to elementary school saying that
You're allowed corporal punishment?
was a thing. So, like, they
But
gave
not
me up.
not the face, hit my butt, not my face.
The ruler on the knuckle thing.
I remember in elementary, I think it was even middle school, the principal's office had a paddle above the door.
Yeah.
Big wooden paddle, like from the movie Dazed and Confused. The paddles of those guys
With the holes in it to make it go faster.
Less wind resistance.
Exactly, yeah.
And I got threatened with the paddle more than once, but I don't remember ever getting hit with it.
I got paddled twice in junior high, and I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I would hear kids talk about it, like, "Oh, did you hear about so and so? He got paddled for cursing." And I was like, paddled? I mean, I didn't, and I never knew what it was because, again, I'm from New York, where God forbid you touch a kid. You can't even look at a kid the wrong way in New York, man, without the whole community coming down on you. But we moved down to like the small town in Texas, and you know, and again, like there was a paddle on the principal's desk, but I thought it was like a paperweight or something. That was like big ass paperweight that no papers underneath it though, but it was on his desk though.
I was like, he's really into cricket.
And so like, and you hear kids talk about like if you got into a fight, there was an automatic paddling, So I remember the first time I saw a kid. Well, we didn't see a kid get paddled, but this kid was going to get paddled because he got into a fight. These two kids, and the way that they did it was when everybody was in their classes, 4 of the teachers, because I was in the 6th grade, so it was like 4 teachers. They would go into the hallway and they would tell these kids why they're about to get paddled, and and this is what you heard. And then everyone in the classes are quiet. It was almost like you was listening to an execution. Like it was like closed circuit TV. Like, oh man, they got him. But and so the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, when you guys mean paddled, you guys mean whipped. And then my teacher came in with the paddle because she was the one that administered it, and she was a short lady. So I guess she had like power. Like she was like, I'm close to the ass. Bam! You know, like I could just swing it. Like the taller teachers, like I have to like kind of come down at like a curve. Like she was just like, and she came and she opens up her drawer, throws the paddle in there, like she was just like coming off of like patrol, and she just throws her gun in the drawer and closes it. Shit. And then she just, okay, class, open your science books to chapter 5.
She's like Kirby Pluckett when he's the designated hitter. Right?
So and mind you, we heard that 6 times because there was one kid getting hit and then another kid, and they come in. One of them come into our class like rubbing his ass, tearing up. I'm like, how the fuck are you supposed to learn after that? You know,
might have a good effect though.
Public school?
Yes.
Catholic school?
Public school.
Public school?
Public in Canada.
In Canada, Canadian.
Oh wow! Yeah. So you guys just hit each other hockey parts.
It was a little. There were some. I mean, I never got hit, but kids got hit by their teachers in the school.
Yeah.
But I'm at 41, so like coming up in the 80s, early 90s, I think that was still a thing in most places.
Yeah.
When I got paddled, it was like I got paddled twice. I had dreadlocks. I got in a lot of fights, and I remember the first time I got paddled. The first hit was like, yeah, this is like, yeah, you're in it. The second one was like, that was the hardest. Like that was like, it made you tear up. And you're in 6th grade. It's just like, I want my mom to whoop me. And then like the third one was like, okay, we can tell that your butt is bruised. Pap. And then I walked in and I sat down, and I don't even remember what I learned that day because all I thought about was I was just like, ugh.
I don't know though, like we both have kids in middle school.
Yeah.
And I think from some stories I've heard and things I've seen, they should probably be smacking some of those kids with a paddle. There's some wildness going on there.
But now you can't touch a kid now. Yeah.
And they know it.
Yeah, exactly. What are you going to do? Exactly. They're looking at the teacher like, what'd you say, punk? You know?
Yeah.
I remember like threatening to to call CPS on my mom, and she's like, "You're gonna do what?" I'm like, I don't know what I said, Mom. I blacked out for a second.
I'll give you something to call him about.
That was. I'll give you something to cry about. Was something that was said frequently at home when I was.
I'm not gonna lie. My favorite thing, honestly, and I don't have children, so thank you, God. But I would never. I don't think I would ever hit my kids because I was never really hit. Like my dad, he never punished us. He probably should have. We'd be better children for it. But he's never really hit his kids. Mom, on the other hand, just batshit crazy, yo. So just batshit nuts. But no, I mean, she had to. We were not easy kids, you know what I mean? But I kind of feel like whenever I'm at a grocery store and I see a parent smacking the shit out of her kid, I'm just like, yes. Keep at and anytime a parent wants to intervene, I just want to be like, no, this needs to happen. Okay, don't. You're not supposed to hit him in public. I'm like, you take that sausage and you whack him over the face with it. Okay, no. This is how he learns.
Get spanked by a package of bacon.
Yeah, don't be running around like there'll be kids just doing dumb stuff, and I'm like, watch your kid. Don't tell me to watch my kid. I'm like, okay, I'll be eat something he's allergic to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my mom was the kind of mom that she wouldn't scream at us or hit us in public, but she would grab you by your arm, like right here,
and
squeeze so fucking hard.
By the way,
squeeze so hard that you're like, hold on, shut up.
How do you get? I'm like, Mom, how do you get all this strength? You don't even go to a gym.
5'4", tiny little Irish Catholic woman, and get outside.
I was at a Whole Foods, and I was doing a demo kind of thing, and there was this lady who she had a 7-year-old daughter, and then she had a 5-year-old son, and the son was kicking my table, knocking stuff off. And I looked at the mom, and the mom just was oblivious to what he was doing. So the sister went around, and she was like, "Stop it!" And he stopped for a second, and then he did it again. And then, so I politely said, I was like, "Hey, excuse me, young man, can you please not kick my table? You're knocking stuff off, and I don't want you to get anything spilled on you." And the lady was like, "What did you say to my kid?"
Oh, jeez.
I was like, no, I was asking him not to kick me. Don't talk to my kid like that. And I was like what? Please tell me,
like a parent,
what did I say wrong? And she was like, you don't talk to other people's kid like that. And I was like, oh my God, this bitch is crazy. I was like, out of all the people that are standing here, the 7-year-old one is the one raising the 5-year-old, and you don't even know what's going on. She's like, you don't talk to other people's kids. If you want to say something to somebody's kid, you talk to the parent. And I was like, so you did not see him just kicking my table just now, and you were just you think that's the norm? You see the stuff that I had displayed just getting knocked down, and so she got very upset with me. She's like, I'm going to talk to your supervisor. I'm like, okay, go ahead. I don't even work here, but yeah, go ahead. But she was she got really she wanted to make it her. First of all, Whole Food shopper, the worst people on the planet anyway. So I'm just okay, you are definitely, you are proving my point about people like you that feel like you really need to be heard. So she was telling me this, and I'm just well, I didn't say anything bad to your kid. I just told, you think I'm going to risk ruining my reputation of just yelling at a 5-year-old? I know he's a kid, but I talk to him like an adult. I called him sir, mister, and all that, and he was just and you're just standing I have a niece. I watch my niece. If she does something that she's not supposed to do, I tell her, and then she stops, and then that's the end of the conversation. But you apparently, I doubt he has a dad. I can see why you're raising these kids by yourself, because I didn't see a dad, and you probably ran him out because of your mouth or lack thereof.
Jamal, it's clear that Whole Foods only sells to Karens.
Yeah, obviously. Well, I was going to say she probably went home and gave him a participation ribbon too.
You should have kicked it harder. You would have got a gold. He was practicing for he was practicing for soccer or something. It's just kick. But I don't know. But it's you remember those days where it used to take a village. You know, now it's just like the village can't even get involved anymore. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to look out for your own kid, and you got to hope that your kid don't turn out to be a spaz like that other kid, because, you know, and then of course we blame the parents, but it's just like, you know, really?
Other people's kids.
They hadn't got the kids like Adderall like right. I mean, they're still figuring out the levels and shit.
I never want to get to that point where I'm just like, okay, open wide. All right, go play.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember there was a comic that was in the paper, I don't know, a while back, but it was a thing where it was like 1955 or something, and the kid comes home and he got bad grades, and his parents are like yelling at him and like threatening him. And then 2020, and the kid comes home and he has bad grades, and the parents go and yell at the teacher, like, "What are you doing wrong?" You know?
He's like, "You're not babysitting my kid right."
Make him do better. Raise him right.
You know what? But I kind of feel like, since we're talking about like bad children, you know, I mean, and I'm sure your kids are just, you know, you guys seem like very
friggin' diamonds, man.
They're great. I kind of feel like, my opinion is this, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm waiting for some psychologist to be like, "Hey, I saw your podcast. By the way, I liked it, but there's something. I'm going to poke holes in your theory." I kind of feel like I look at like how I kind of feel like parents are not there enough for their kids, and not for nothing. I don't think it's any really fault of the parents at all. It's our work schedules, you know, like
it's the parents' bosses that's at fault.
Well, that we could say that. I mean, it's easy for the parents to quit and be like, "I'm going to work for myself or do something else where I could spend more time with my kids." But it's like, have you guys like paternity leaves are not worth crap here in this country compared to other countries, you know? So I kind of feel like whenever we hear about kids acting up and kids, you know, going through these emotional like temper tantrums, it's just like, well, first of all, your mommies and daddies are working 8 hours a day, and some Jamaican lady is raising you, and the parents don't have, by the time they get home, they're tired. They probably spend like a couple hours with their kids. And then it's like this whole go thing. But meanwhile, like in other countries, their paternity leaves, it's like you get like a year off.
Yeah.
So you could so your child could recognize your face.
Right.
You know, and sometimes it's both parents, and sometimes it's concurrent, sometimes it's consecutive, but it's like it gives, like these other countries give the parents enough time so they could raise their kids so they're not being pieces of shit. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of feel like, you know, and then of course you look at our homicide rate, like our yearly homicide rate, it's like when we think about other countries, it's just like, oh, well, they don't have the freedoms that we have. I think I would trade some of my freedoms to be able to live 20 years longer, you know, like, I mean, like a lot of our like, and again, I'm going to lose the South for sure for this, but I feel like a lot of our like amendments are completely outdated, like severely outdated.
Like the constitutional amendment?
Yes. Severely outdated. Like as far as right to bear arms, I don't care about that. But you can't be like, hey, right to bear arms and, you know, screw the First Amendment. You can't pick the sexy amendments and be like, yeah, pick and choose, you know, and be like, this is great, but we need to throw this out and overturn this and overturn that. But it's like other countries, sure, their taxes are higher. But you know what? They're happier because you want to know why? If they stub their toe crossing the street, they could go to the hospital and then not get a bill later.
Not go bankrupt.
You know what I'm saying? And they take care of you. So in order to develop a society of like really, really, you know, commendable people, you got to start with the children. And we could say children are bad all we want, but then it's the children, it's the parents, and then it's the parents trying to find the time to, I mean, yes, you have the weekends, but sometimes that's not even enough. You know what I'm saying? You got to be there with your kids. You got to be there to mold their minds, you know, because again, there's a thing called a terrible parent, and kids pick up on stuff really fast. You see a man beating up on a woman, these guys, the young child think, oh, that's the norm. Maybe that's how you get a girlfriend or a wife or whatever. You know, it's the things that they see.
Yeah.
So, and again, you're not going to always be able to shield your kids from like everything. But if you put enough, if you give them enough positive knowledge and whatnot for them to be at least a decent human being, at least, and I think that's something that we have to look at. I think we have to look at stuff like our paternity leaves. They're like, okay, we'll give you 2 months off, and we'll pay you 40% of your salary. It's not 40%, but it's like they'll pay like 66% of your salary, and it's like, oh, I get 2 months. Okay, my baby's eyes will barely be wide open, but at least I'll be able to come back to work. And
that's better than going back to work after 3 days.
And on top of that, childcare is expensive per month. You're taking your kids to like a dang like baby mill, like with a bunch of other babies, and you're hoping like we're gonna throw you in this pen with hope you guys can get along.
And you hope that they're not doing like baby boxing matches and shit at the daycare, right?
Our first fight club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we don't talk about that. No, I mean, with my son, who's 26 now, it actually worked out well. Got divorced from his mom when he was like 18 months old. So I was kind of forced into that, having him 3 times a week, right? I had him every Tuesday, every Thursday, and then every other weekend. So it forced me to be a better parent, right? Because I was, didn't have somebody who was like, go tell your mom, So we did a ton of stuff together, museums and hanging out and playing. And
he's a smart kid.
Yeah, he's a smart kid, and I'm proud of him. With my daughter, though, I had her later in life. And she's only 12, so I feel bad. So like when my son was young, I was younger, so I was able to get on the floor and play trains and play, G.I. Joes and say Star Wars figures, all that stuff. My daughter came along, fuck, my back hurts, man. I can't sit on the floor too long. I'm not playing dollies with you. It's not because I don't love you. It's because my back hurts.
She's like, I'm going to have a teapot. I'll put a pillow right here for you. There you go, Daddy. Now you can't go anywhere. I mean, I have a niece, and sometimes we will. She likes it when she's like, Uncle, I like it when you talk like a girl. and I'm like, I get it, because she's just like, I guess she feels like I could relate now. Like, she has like a little dog.
So how does that sound, Jamal?
I don't know, man. I can't do it when people are watching.
I was gonna say there's probably a big portion of the population that likes it when Jamal talks like a girl.
but when I do it and she hears it, she kind of giggles because it's funny to her. But she, it's like you gotta play with them.
How old is she? Your niece?
She is 8.
8. Okay.
Yeah, and she is very, very. She's gonna probably never want for anything when she gets older, because she's just like she knows what she wants when she wants it, and I try not to spoil her. I kind of like hold back on some of the things. I'm like, no, you got to know what hunger feels like. Even though you're not supposed to like really do that, like I want you to know what being poor feels like. Give me your money. You know,
experience lack.
Like I like hang like a Twizzler over her head. I'm like, grab that brass ring.
And a bit she's like, do we have to eat ramen again, Uncle?
This time we'll put water in it.
I like it crunchy. Yeah, with my daughter, it's like I bring home hot Cheetos, right? And she's like, oh. I'm like, what's wrong? I kind of wanted Takis. I'm like, oh, come on now.
That's funny you say that.
Is there really a difference, though?
Yeah,
my dad, he brought like a bag of everything bagels, because my daughter, ooh, I almost slipped. My niece, she was like, I was like, so what do you want to eat? She was like, I want a bagel with cream cheese. And I'm like, okay, I could get you that. And she was like, I want a plain bagel with cream cheese. And I'm like, okay, that's specific, but okay, cool, I can get you a plain bagel with cream cheese. But then like minutes after the conversation, my dad walks in with these everything bagels. And I'm like, oh, you brought bagels, okay, and we already have cream cheese here, so I'm like, we don't have to go out. Mm-hmm. She was like, no. And I'm like, but we have bagels. And she looks at the bagels and she kind of like rubs her hands over the everything part. I'm just
seeds everywhere.
She's just like, and then she sees stuff inside of it and she's like, plain bagel. And I'm like, all right, I did say I was going to get you a plain bagel. And but I'm like, don't you want to try the everything bagel first, just to see if you like it? She's like, No, I don't like it.
The only reason cheese pizza exists in the world is because of kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like plain cheese pizza. I've never met an adult that wants plain cheese pizza.
My roommate, she's vegetarian, so the only pizza she'll eat is cheese pizza.
She's an adult?
She doesn't throw like
She's like my age.
tomatoes or spinach or nothing on there?
Hey,
No,
when it
she's
comes
straight.
to fend for yourself Friday, like Kermit was talking about, I related to that. I was like, yeah, we have that at my house. It's just like, you think I'm cooking? No, it's fend for yourself Fridays.
I remember my mom doing that too. Yeah.
Like, and so, order out or something. But pizza, yeah, it's like, pizza, here you go, there's a pizza. Eat, shut up. Pizza puts you in a coma, so you can go to sleep and I can
Food
put some
coma.
work.
Man, not growing up, but Fridays was leftover Fridays, and it was mom, not a great cook, rest her soul, but she would make 4 or 5 distinct different meals from Sunday to Thursday, right? And then at Friday night was all the leftovers piled on a plate, and you're like, ugh.
Like, this is the weirdest looking loaf I've ever seen.
I can fry you an egg and put it on top. No, it doesn't help, Mom.
This is
Doesn't
why
help.
people have like problems with like cross contamination when it comes to their
Yeah.
food. They don't want. I have a friend of mine, Shannon. If you're watching, hi. She doesn't like having food touch on her plate. She has those. Remember those trays we had in school?
Yeah.
That had
Oh, yeah. With the borders.
I mean, I showed her I showed her that you can buy those on Amazon. I don't know if she ever bought them or not, but I actually got a set of them because I thought they were fucking cool. But yeah, she would put them in little individual things and they would never touch. I was like, they end up in the same spot in your stomach, right? They're not separated in your stomach. And she's like, shut up. So,
That's the way it goes down.
yeah.
Spoonful of sugar. Yeah, man. What about your kid, man? Both of your kids? Any quirkiness?
Well, I don't know. Like Arrow, my 11-year-old, goes to the same middle school.
Who's here today?
Yeah, is here
Somewhere.
today. And for food, I'm not very good with food diversity, but thank God Arrow rolls with it. Like every night at my house, I cook steak and put like Brussels sprouts in the oven, and it's
And that's
steak,
it? That's
steak
every
and
night?
veggies.
And just to
pretty
make
much.
sure I'm hearing right, because I'm wearing headphones, you said Arrow.
Arrow, yes.
Is your other child Bo?
No, other child's Nevaeh and Arrow.
I was going to say Bo and Arrow would be hilarious as kid names.
Yeah, it would.
So steak and Brussels sprouts.
Steak and sprouts.
How do you do the sprouts? Little bacon bits?
Little salt, little olive oil, just put them in the oven,
Okay.
roast them up. But it's pretty simple. Every now and then I'll try chicken and it doesn't work great. But I'm not very good. Like I provide the basics.
The basics. Here, you got your protein, you got
Here's
your veg.
here's your stuff.
A little mashed
Enjoy.
potato. No,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
But with parenting, I don't know, with 11 and then my other daughter is 16, I've hit this point where I think no matter what I do, society is raising my kid more than I am at this point. Like the friend groups, the school groups, the things they want to do, like that.
Yeah.
That's more of how they're learning to engage the world than
Especially
what
at
I'm
this
doing.
age, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you got both preteen and teenager. Mine's preteen.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be a teenager this year, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Absolute nuts.
Do you know what I heard? I heard this story at Nelson Middle School, where our kids go to school. There was a kid that was there that was like giving. This is like 6th and 7th graders giving them gummies,
Oh,
candy,
no.
and then it was like edible, like pot gummies.
Were they really?
Yeah, but they
Oh,
weren't
my
telling the
God.
kids. Like,
What
whoa.
happened to don't take candy from strangers?
Yeah,
Seriously, someone's giving away gummies?
right. Yeah, at Nelson Middle School, you can.
Wow.
I was like, whoa,
Every time I hear
that's pretty intense.
people saying that don't take these kinds of candies during Halloween, it's like, who's giving away pot candy to kids? That's
Oh, awful people. I was going to say, like, giving away my candies. I'm like, to adults, kids, cool people. Yeah.
It's my favorite kind of people.
no one's giving away those things. Those things are expensive as fuck, man.
Well, but that's like an intense high too. Like if somebody gave me an edible and I didn't know it was a strong one, I wouldn't really know what it was.
You're like, there's something wrong with that gummy. All of a sudden, I feel everything
I mean,
in
it'd
my
be
body.
fun, but I would be very confused,
Yeah.
and it would change my day drastically.
When I was living here, anytime that I would get like a cookie or a brownie, I always ask, is this a brownie or is this a brownie?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Has this got funny butter? Or what?
We did have this funny thing. So I used to live in Tacoma, and I would host poker games in my garage when I lived there. And they got pretty big. We had like 2 tables, and I was married at the time, and my father-in-law wanted to come play. And so he came. And another guy that played was this dude that like sold pot. Like he made pot and he sold it legally, and he brought cookies, and these really strong weed cookies. And my father-in-law ate one, not knowing what they were.
Is that Tony?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And Tony's like a manly man, military dude.
Ex-special ops guy.
Ex-special ops guy.
And so we're sitting there playing, and all of a sudden he just stands up, walks into the living room, boom, on the couch asleep.
Oh,
It was like that quick.
It'll
Just
do
like
that to
boom,
you.
boom, boom. And I was like, whoa.
All right, well, Tony's out.
Yeah.
I did this this weed show, a show at a weed dispensary in Manhattan, and they were selling snacks, and they had like cookies for like $1, like nothing too price wise extraordinary, but there was like one of the comics was buying a cookie, and he was like, "Hey, is there weed in this?" And I was like, dude, look at the price of this cookie. Do you think that they would sell a cookie at this price and then just waste it on a weed cookie for $1? Like, there's no way. Like if this cookie was like, I don't know, $10, you wouldn't even have to ask the question.
So when weed became legal in Washington State, I was living in North Kitsap, so like right next to the Albertsons that I would shop at was a little weed store. So when it opened, I think I waited like a week or two. Actually, I think it was my birthday weekend that I went down there. I said, you know what, I'm gonna go in there and see what I can find, because I've never done well. At that time, I hadn't remembered that I'd done any kind of edibles before, but so I bought a little 8-ounce cherry cola. That was
Like a cola?
Yeah, it's THC infused cola.
Oh,
and then I asked for the smallest amount possible, because I'm a complete lightweight when it comes to anything like alcohol. I'll have like a shot, maybe 2. And then I'm good for the rest of the evening.
Oh, wow.
So
I wish I had that.
so he goes, okay, well, he goes, you can get this or these, and there's two cookies the size of like Chips Ahoy cookies, so they're like this big, like a $50 size. And he goes, eat half or drink half, wait 30 minutes, and then if you feel something, then eat the rest later or whatever. I'm ADHD, so my time management isn't great. So what I thought was 30 minutes was like 10. And it's like, it's not.
I don't feel anything.
I don't feel anything. And as soon as I drank the last of the 8-ounce cola, that's when it kicked in. And like for like, I think 3 hours, I felt like I was a Jell-O mold. I could feel every piece of fat in my body just kind of like shifting in my body. And
Was it pleasant or was it like unpleasant?
it was unsettling. I mean, it wasn't like it didn't freak me out as much as it was just like, I don't know if I like this. But it was like, seriously though, like whenever you move, you don't necessarily notice all the muscle movements, but I felt every piece of fat in my body shifting anytime I moved. So it was like I'd move and then all of a sudden and I'm like, no, I don't like that. And so I had those cookies for like 6 months before I touched it again. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna probably take a nap anyhow, so I'll eat this cookie and lie down and watch something on Netflix or whatever and just pass out. And that's what I ended up doing. And I have not had edibles since then, whether it be drinks or food.
I like them for flights. Like if I'm on a long flight. No, just like.
I recently got like a coupon for a free thing from this.
I hate you for saying that. I'm serious, bro.
Oh man!
The first time I did LSD with my brother was the weekend of a Memorial Day weekend, family reunion weekend.
Oh jeez!
My brother comes in and he's like, "Hey, we should do it." And I've never done it. But if it's anything that I've seen in the movies, his idea was completely just terrible. He was like, we should do LSD and go into the city, Manhattan.
Oh, I remember you talking about this.
And the first thought in my head was like, oh, cool. No, there's no way. I'm like, first of all, that is a huge problem.
It seems like the worst place
It's
possible
the worst place to do LSD.
Yeah.
Manhattan, anywhere in Manhattan is the worst. I mean, unless you're probably like by the Hudson River walking up. No. So I was like, here's a better idea. We do LSD and we go to Coney Island, which is like the boardwalk.
Oh, okay.
It's like a beach and everything, and it's pretty spread out. So then that way, because everybody else there is on drugs too. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody else is high on weed or whatever, but if you see like a gang of people walking by, they're on something. But they're not there to like mess with you or anything like that. Because if they see that you're high too, they're just like, oh, he's cool. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're on the same wavelength. We don't want to mess with each other's high. But I'm like, let's do that because it's spread out. So my brother just says, open your mouth. And he goes like, and then we hop on the train. We get there and we're walking on the boardwalk, and I noticed that the wood panels on the boardwalk was like going like this. And he was like, "Do you feel anything yet?" I'm like, "I think so. And I'm like, you know what? I'm in a much better mood now. And I'm like, isn't this better? Like you could see the water and you could see every speck of sand being blown. You know, and I'm like, isn't this better than going into Manhattan? And then I felt like it was great. Like it was great, but the high lasted a lot longer than it was supposed to because we walked. We went home. I took a shower, and then we walked 7 miles throughout the city, going nowhere.
I would imagine if I was to take LSD or shrooms or anything and be in New York, I would feel like I would be seeing like scenes from Ghostbusters as I'm walking through town.
Slimer changing.
just ghosts randomly popping out between doorways and shit.
Nice.
I found a chocolate mushrooms that I had for 3 months that I forgot. I was cleaning out my freezer and I found it and I was like, oh crap, I forgot I had this, and I put it in the refrigerator. Oh. Like it's like in a little bag and it's of a heart. And then my niece started coming around. Oh. And I was like, oh, and she likes to go into the refrigerator as if she bought groceries or something. But like, hey, I'm just gonna go make sure that all the money all the groceries that I put in here are like, I'm gonna go make me a sandwich or whatever. And like, look, if you want something, we go in. But anyway, and I was like, oh crap, I gotta go like hide it because I didn't want her to get at it. And I had shingles. Like a while back, and I was in so much pain, and I was like, you know what?
See if this helps.
and I ate it.
Wow.
And I was halfway through Bowling for Columbine, which is not a good movie to watch when you're on shrooms.
Oh my god!
It is not. I'm sorry. It is a terrible. It's a
this
good
whole
movie.
Experience sounds awful.
But every interview that they were doing, I felt like I was conducting it. Like, how did you really feel? Like, yeah. And I was like, get that fat dude out of the way. Like they were in Canada, and I'm just like, so how much did it cost for you to get looked at in a hospital? And I felt like I was the one asking.
What was the director of that movie?
Michael Moore.
Michael Moore.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see the South Park episode where they made fun of Michael Moore?
I did, but I don't remember it.
He was like, he was just like this really, really obese character when he talked. And it was the reason why they did it is because of that documentary. He asked
the Bowling for Columbine.
Yeah, he asked Matt and Trey to do like an animation thing for the movie. They said no. Well, they did an animation anyway and just kind of made it look like it was South Park, even though it wasn't. It was.
Oh yeah, that's the part that I. Yeah.
So you had shingles?
Yeah, shingles. Trying to like ease the pain, and then I watched that movie. I watched Mosquito Coast, like the old Harrison Ford movie,
River
and then I watched Grudge Match. And when you're on shrooms and you're watching Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro box, they look older than they look. They almost look like mummies punching each other.
Oh my God.
You know, it was just like, oh my God, that's Sylvester Stallone.
I just watched Cobra the other night.
Oh my God, did you?
It was awesome. It was awesomely bad.
It is. It's a terrible movie.
It's horrible,
I mean,
but
the
one line, every sentence out of his mouth had to be a one-liner.
Yeah. No, I was surprised I was able to watch, like, it was on one of those streaming devices, but before that, you had to pay to watch it. And I'm like, first of all, the Rotten Tomatoes don't do it any favors. And I have a rule, if it's under, like, way under, like, under 30, I'm like, you want me to pay $5 for what?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, make
it's
that.
on Tubi, I think. Is that where you found it?
It's on
Tubi or
Max, I think,
HBO
now.
Max.
It was
Yeah.
on Tubi, but then and then now it's on HBO Max. But I saw it on Tubi too. I'm like, no way, I'm paying $4 for this garbage.
Yeah.
I'll endure the same 30-second advertisement every 5 minutes to watch that movie, right? Dude, that is the worst about like free streaming services. It's the same 30-second commercial every 10 minutes.
But I love the fact that they say the commercials keep it free. But like, it also makes me want to put a gun to my head sometimes.
Well,
watching
and
the same
I think
thing
the
over
reason
and
why
over.
they do that is so you pay the extra $5 so you can get the streaming without the ads. Because, I mean, I went through that when I was watching How I Met Your was it How I Met Your Mother? The name of the show?
Yeah.
The original show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same 30-second ad every 10 minutes, and I was watching the whole series. And so, like, 26 episodes every 10 minutes, you know, the same Viagra commercial or fucking tampon
Todd's
commercial.
finally like, fuck it, I'm buying Viagra.
You know, it was like feminine hygiene products and boner pills, you know, it was just
They're like, this is what people who watch How I Met Your Mother are really buying.
right? It says a lot about their target demographic. So,
Well, guys, this has been a ton of fun, but our time limit has come to us because this is a working theater. There is stuff going on this afternoon, so we got to vacate the lobby.
it's gonna take us a minute to break all this down.
Yeah, but I had a good time, man.
Yeah,
me too.
Fun.
yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe in July when you come back.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
All right. Well, leave it on a positive note. Just remember that you're never going to find out if you don't fuck around. So,
And remember, folks, it's not about you, right, Jamal?
not about you.
Well, if you have a problem with people who are trans, always remember, it's not about you.
Exactly.
So from Not About You podcast, from Dunce Games and DCGTV, and Our Town podcast.
Yes.
Hey.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you in our respective podcast time slots.
All right. This was great. Thanks a lot, guys.